This is another Disney podcast production.
Hey there, buddy.
Dave's still dancing.
You're so animated in your little shot in the intro. He's all like,
I noticed that. I'm like, why am I? I'm a very animated person. I talk with my hands.
it wasn't
apparently.
intentional. Like, I have no idea who did that. It was just luck of the draw what clip we got.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So,
Well, hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Tell us. Matthew got to share last time,
Yeah.
but we'd love to hear why you love Disney.
you're in the hot seat.
I know, man.
Is it warm?
It is. But, okay, deep breath. I cried 3 times writing this out. So, not because it's bad. It's all good stuff.
Gosh, I hope you guys. It makes for such good content.
I'm so tired. I'm not going to cry. All right. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. So, Disney has meant, obviously, so many things in so many different seasons of my life. So, as a child, it was cartoons, films, TV shows. Now, when I was growing up, Disney Channel was like HBO and Showtime and Cinemax. You had to pay for it, so we didn't have it. So it was always exciting to get to Sunday night for the wonderful world of Disney. Waited all week. It was a chance to get like my Disney fix. Like, we would watch it every night, every Sunday night as a family. And so when I was growing up, the movie that was on repeat at our house was Mary Poppins. Absolutely love that movie. The story, the innovation with, mixing animation and real life characters, the cast, brilliantly cast film. To me, it's literally Disney perfection. Like, I love that movie that much. And so a couple years go by, and so we get to my first time going to the parks. 1979 was our first trip to Walt Disney World. So we drove down and stayed at Fort Wilderness. We live roughly 800 miles away, so that was a pretty big trip for me at that age. I vaguely remember just small bits and pieces of that trip, like walking to the bathrooms at the campground with my dad to go take showers in the morning and at night, and riding Jungle Cruise. And this is where the story goes south very quickly. That was the most horrifying experience I've ever had in my life. So the hippos coming out of the water, right? Everybody knows the hippos coming out of the water. My dad was holding on to me, and he did that little, when they grab and they just kind of push you a little bit. Oh my gosh. It scared me for life, and I never went back to the parks.
Yeah.
The old I'm going to throw you in the water trick.
Now you see where the tears came from. It was literally mortified, and I haven't been back since, but it was a great trip, I guess.
So it's like a trauma thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So kidding. Okay. It was a long time until we went back. So it was my freshman year of high school. We went back to the parks. MGM, I think it just opened. It hadn't been open for a year. And my dad wanted to see the new parks. And so I remember literally we left after my last football game of the season, and it was win and go to the playoffs and lose and go to Disney World. So I'm so thankful that we lost. I'm not thankful that we lost, but I'm thankful that we had the trip planned, because it was a good escape, because that was pretty sad to lose our football game and not be able to go to the playoffs. But whatever, it's fine. I don't know if it was called playoffs. Was it called playoffs in high school? I don't remember. Anyway, so I remember how it felt different as a teenager, right? It was obviously very different. Now, it still had its magic and charm. And the cool thing for me is my brother is 5 years. He's 5 years younger than me. So it was really cool seeing it through his eyes, because he was still in the 9, 10, 11 age group. And so it was looking at it differently, right? I remembered it as a kid, left mortified, came back. It was, kind of cool to be there as a teenager. I was still, young enough that the parks were still fun. I loved the rides and being there, riding rides with my dad and my mom. But it was definitely cool to see it through like my brother because I didn't experience at that age. I was like 5-ish or 6 years old when I went the first time. So then we go through the troublesome years. And so it wasn't until my 20s that I really reconnected with Disney. So, of course, I mean, I obviously stayed tied to the films. The animation kept getting better and better. Pixar had come on the scene, and obviously they have had hit after hit. And so I got married at 26, and we spent the first 5 years of our marriage just traveling all over the world. Not a lot of Disney, but we did go all over the world. I wish I'd known you guys then, because we'd probably all gone together. Because every time I go somewhere, you guys end up going. So we went to Hawaii, we went to Mexico, we went to St. Martin. You guys would have had fun. We'd have gone all over the place.
Yeah, my late 20s would have been a heck of a lot more exciting had I known you then.
Right.
Dave was traveling the world when I was going to Disney World for the first time.
Oh, there you go.
That's true.
I guess it worked out.
Dave's old.
Yep, I'm 19 and a half. So,
When you were 19 and a half, I wasn't born yet.
oh boy. This always goes to the old man jokes.
Anyways.
So after doing all that traveling, we eventually found ourselves back at Walt Disney World. So I thought, hey, let's go be kids for a weekend. So we went in 2007 for a weekend in June. And so this is the moment that literally changed everything for me and has led me to where I am today in this Disney journey. So we went like I said, in June for just a weekend, rented like a timeshare condo. It was great. We went with Kim's cousin came with us at the time. And so that was June. By end of July, I had booked a trip in September. We were staying at the Caribbean. We got the meal plan, booked all of our sit-down restaurants, and we went for 7 days, and it was amazing. And I couldn't help but think, dang, this place is way better as an adult. So, and at the time, no kids. So we literally just went and played for a week, and I fell in love with the parks differently than it was going with your family growing up. And so a few years went by. It was 2010. We invited our best friends to join us. It was a couple of episodes ago that Brandon came on and joined us on the podcast, and we talked a little bit about that crazy video that we made. And I was like, hey, we should go with friends. If we love it this much, and we don't have kids and they don't have kids, we can go and be kids together. I was like, I wonder if they would do it. They bought it. So we all went. Indeed. And that started this yearly, basically, sometimes more than that, obsession for me. And so I thought, how can I keep going back over and over and over? And I was like, yeah, my wife's not going to buy this. So I needed an excuse. Children. Perfect excuse. So we had our daughter, and when she was 3.5, which I think was 2014, 2015. Yeah, she was born in 2010. So 2014, she was 3.5. We took her, and all I can say is thank God she loved it. Could you imagine if like I'd have had one of those kids that you go to a theme park and you're like, she's like, nope. I would have been devastated. But she loved it. And
she's
so
the opposite of that.
Yes, very much. So Brandon and Krista were with us. I still remember the first moment that we got there. We kind of got there later in the afternoon because I think our flight was it was probably like a 9 a.m. flight. We got there around 11 and checked into the hotel and then made it to Magic Kingdom. We got there right in time for the parade. What is it called? Why is it Festival of Fantasy Parade?
Festival of Fantasy.
And so I just remember like we got pictures of Micaiah on my shoulders. We got pictures of Micaiah on Brandon's shoulders, and it was just from the moment she got into the park. I mean, what a grand entrance, right, for a kid to land at the beginning of Festival of Fantasy Parade. And we were right in the hub at the turn where you're going to kind of take the entrance into Tomorrowland. And so we were right up as close as you can be. And
you walk in and you hear da-da-da, da-da-da.
I missed that parade.
I still remember her face when she saw the dragon. Like I can it is burned into my brain. The amazement and the wonder and the joy that was on that little girl's face.
It was great. I mean, to this day, I think that's still my favorite trip I'm pretty sure that's the one that all other trips will always be compared to, is that moment when you first take your little kid and they experience that, like just the awestruck wonder. Maybe that's a way to put it, I think, is good. And so anyway, incredible memories from that trip. And so the next question comes up. How do I convince Kim to let us keep going? Don't worry, I had an evil plan. It's clearly worked out. Daddy-daughter trips? Just like the Palms, she bought it. And so we went back typically twice a year, I think. And it's been great. She's 10 now. We just had our latest trip this past February. And I think that, this will probably always be our place, but we have a son who's now 6, and I've taken him once for a daddy trip. He likes it. It's not the same connection, I think, that Makai has to it, but it's still, it's a theme park, and he's 6. He loves it. Yeah. But I think Disney is our place. For somebody who lives 800 miles away, you're talking, our daughter's 10, and she just had her 10th trip. So that's clearly a dad who has an addiction problem. So we're going to seek counseling and figure that out and see what happens. And so, but I did get to take Zay, February of 2020. So 6 weeks before the pandemic hit. And so he's ready to go back, but he's like, Dad, can we wait for no masks? And I'm like, sure, buddy, that's an easy thing to request. So, I get that. So you can see how, different seasons have had their core memories. See what I did there? But overall, there's a level of excellence with Disney that, for me, no other experiences can come close to that. They just haven't touched it. And so that's a big reason that I'm continually drawn back to the magic, if you will. They've had, clearly Disney as a whole has had a broad stroke in all of our lives with films, TV, parks, etc. And I've definitely been privileged for sure to have the opportunity to not only have visited Walt Disney World, but have been to Disneyland and Disneyland Paris. We went just a year and a half ago. Crazy. So, and now I get to do a podcast where I can share my passion for the parks and the beyond, really. And so I look forward to seeing what, our show that we're doing becomes. And then we'll get to look back on this new set of memories that this journey will take. And so for sure, that is my condensed form of why I love Disney. Did I do well?
Yeah, you didn't cry.
You did good.
I did a little
bit. You didn't even cry.
I did. I just hit it well. I feel like this one's still here. I used the mic. No, it's cool, man. It's a cool journey, especially when you get to see it through your kids' eyes. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. They're the tears. They come.
What questions do you guys have for me? Could I have asked that in a creepier voice? Nope.
I think my biggest question is what's been the biggest change since you started going, not back like Fort Wilderness days when you were young buck, but when we started going in 2010 to now, what's been aside from the pandemic, because that's obviously a huge change, what's been the biggest change in the parks? Is it an emotional change? Is it a attraction change? What's gotten you in the feels? What's been the biggest change in the parks?
I think it's just the opportunity to go with as a family. So we've only done that once, and that was a horrible experience. Do you see how I didn't mention it? And it was just, we realized that Zay
can confirm I was there.
Zay was a little too young. Micaiah, 3.5, perfect age. Zay, 3.5, nope, wasn't ready yet. And so, but it's definitely seeing it through your kids' eyes. But then also, I've had solo trips. I'm so lucky to have a bride that's let me go. I've done several of the Disney races, and that's a lot to take your whole family and do, especially when they're not running. And my wife loves Disney, but she doesn't love parks with kids by herself. And so having the chance to go on some solo trips that I never would have expected as a married dude with children, Yes, counseling is forthcoming, but I think it's the kids, because we got to go with you guys so early on in 2010, and then that kind of became our thing, and then we had kids, and we still kept coming, and we couldn't always align our trips then, but now that you guys live there, it's a little easier. But yeah, I think it's just the generic answer of like being there with your kiddos and making all those memories. I wish I had a deeper philosophical reason.
That's all right. That's philosophical enough for me.
Good stuff.
So Dave, I have a deep question.
Oh boy, here we go.
What are you looking forward to? So you've had these sweet young years with Micaiah.
Thank you for calling me.
Nope. Nope. I'm talking about your kids. You've had these sweet young years with Micaiah and Isaiah, and Micaiah. I think about Micaiah. She's getting a little older. What is that going to be like? How do you think that's going to go as a teenager? Do you think
like with her excitement for Disney parks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she's already grown out of the Disney princesses and all of the she's definitely a stuffed animal kid, but she's moved on from. And I get it. I mean, the princessy thing for most kids they're littles, right? And so that's when they're drawn to the princesses. What do I think it's going to be like if she has that rebelling teenage years? I mean, of course, our kids are going to rebel at teenage years. We all did it. But I mean, like where she is too cool for the parks. She got to go. She got to go. Yeah, that's my only thing. I don't know. I think she's gone so much and realizes that that's our fun getaway. I hope it doesn't come to that, but yeah, that's my biggest thing is that they just grow up and they're like, I don't know why my dad is so old and loves the parks like he's a 10-year-old. Like that's my biggest fear. I hope that answers the question, but man, I'm just it's so funny, dude. Think about all that I talked about in this episode and how all I talk about now is you asked me a question, kids. Brandon asked me a question, kids. It's so different. It's so many different stages of life, how it changes. It's crazy. But I still like to go on my by myself trips. I'm a jam.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm lucky to A, have a bride that supports that, and B, to have a bride that's still there when I come home from my all alone trips.
So far?
So yeah, so far.
So far.
That's all I got, man. That's all I got.
Dave,
awesome.
It's been a pleasure hearing this from you.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
My favorite line was Core Memories.
Core Memories.
I like that movie.
That one almost made me cry. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, Matthew.
Are you ready for your turn?
I was born ready.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Not really, but I'm ready.
Oh, he's ready.
You were born ready.
Oh, he's born ready.
I was born ready.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time.
Love you,
See
Mina.
you guys next time.